It's Travel Michigan. I'm Dave Lorenz, along with you today, and very happy to have as our first guest an expert in mapping and in trails and in all things out of doors. Let me introduce you to Jim Dufresne, a travel writer and also a important person with MichiganTrailMaps.com. Jim, nice to have you with us today.
Great to be here.
So, I didn't even know how to describe you with MichiganTrailMaps.com. Are you president? Are you chairperson? How do you describe yourself?
Well, the title I usually use is editorial director because I'm in charge of most of the content that goes on to the website and our books and maps that we publish.
How appropriate, since you know a lot about the content when it comes to trails all around Michigan. Why don't you give people a little bit about your background?
Well, born, raised, and grew up in Michigan, and as a journalist major, I started out in sports, but quickly switched to outdoors, and pretty much my entire career has been focused on trail usage. So I've been on a lot of trails in Michigan.
Well, I was really impressed when we first talked quite a long time ago about MichiganTrailMaps.com and all the things that you were doing there to find out that, the way that you guys put these beautiful trail maps together, which I've seen, and they really are great, is not through a process that I would have expected, looking at Google Maps or Google Earth or something and just kind of throwing it together. You guys actually personally walk these trails, you chart them out, you take notes, and then you put it all on paper and digitally.
Exactly. It's the best way to do a map is to get out there and experience the trail first. And we do it with a GPS unit in hand like everybody, like other people do as well. We then come back and we use everything at our disposal, and that includes USGS topos. We use satellite imagery like Google Earth. We drop those coordinates on everything, and then what we do is we produce this map. And we keep what we hiker or a mountain biker or a cross-country skier needs. We eliminate everything else. They're just not good-looking maps. They're clean, they're functional, and they're very user-friendly. And one of the things we did, for example, is we got rid of the mileage scale on the maps, which I always found, that's the one that says 0 to 1 mile is such. Yeah, I just didn't think that was really useful for people. People don't carry a piece of string and try to measure the trail. Instead, because we're out there and because we measure everything, we GPS it, we use what we call mileage flags. So the trailhead would be 0.0 miles. The first junction might be 1.2 miles, and so forth as you go around this trail, this loop. And I just think that's really a lot more useful than a mileage scale. So those are the kind of things that we designed. And so we like to think our maps are not only great-looking maps, they're the most useful and accurate ones available in Michigan.
Yeah, I'd have to agree because you do kind of use landscapes and various points of interest where somebody can get to a certain spot and say, well, this must be that spot on the map because it's made pretty obvious.
We like to think when people use our maps, they realize real quick that we've been out there already. And so that's the reassuring thing. And we also, on the website, the maps are paired up with descriptions and so forth. And what we're really trying to do is just encourage trail usage in Michigan. And the best way to do that is say to somebody, there's a great trail, and this is how long it is. And here, if you're interested in doing it, download this map, print it out, and stick it in your back pocket and hit the trail. Yeah, well,
you do encourage trail usage around the state. You certainly link to Michigan.org with MichiganTrailMaps.com. You've provided trail advice on the Pure Michigan Connect blog, and all that's very much appreciated because you really know what's happening out there. Speaking of that, I understand you have some new maps kind of featuring Manitou Island.
Absolutely.
And the islands, I should say.
Islands, two of them. And they're two great islands. And what happened was last summer, the National Park Service and Empire approached us, and we had some meetings, and they needed good maps for Manitou Islands because there's a lot of hikers and backpackers out there, and there wasn't really anything available. So we went out last summer. I did, actually. For 3 weeks, I spent on those two islands. So it was a tough gig, I got to tell you.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a good thing to hear because I've been to a lot of national parks and I do a lot of trailing, and most national park maps are really bad.
And, we went out there and we did every trail. We just did all the field research, and we put together these two great maps. And this is the first summer they're available.
Yeah, that's great. What other types of maps? Well, actually, I should first ask you. There are some changes on the islands and how you can visit them now, right?
Well, Right. And the big change is, in the past, both islands are reached from a ferry out of Leland, Manitou Transit Company. And in the past, they'd go to South Manitou Island, get there around 11, and leave at 4. So you could go there overnight and camp or as a day visit. But with North Manitou, they went out there, dropped you off, and left. So you had to spend the night. This summer, for the first time, they're running two runs a day. So what that allows them to do is to drop people off at North Manitou in the morning and then come back in the afternoon. So it makes North Manitou open to a day visit for the first time ever.
That's great. Of course, you have maps. You've been developing them from throughout the state. And in just a few seconds, can you give us a tip on some of the favorite areas that you can recommend?
Well, I got to tell you, I just came back from the west coast of Michigan, Lake Michigan shoreline, and this is the time of year you want to get out in that sand dune country. And while Sleeping Bear Dunes certainly gets the majority of the press, we have wonderful hiking in the sand dune. This is when you want to do it. Sagatuck Dunes State Park, which I think you're probably pretty familiar with.
Yeah, I am.
I spent a day there. It's just a great place. Not a lot of facilities. The beach is a mile away. So those who like to hike in a little way to a really isolated, uncrowded beach, this is the park you really want to go to. And the day hiking's spectacular. The other place that I think people really ought to stop, and they often miss, is the Silver Lakes Dunes area.
I agree. Actually, both of those are really great recommendations. I wish we had more time to find out more from you, Jim, because you have great advice. And if you'd like to learn more, just go to MichiganTrailMaps.com for some more information. Jim Dufresne from Michigan Trail Maps. Thank you much. We'll find out what's happening at the Soo next, right here on Travel Michigan, where your trip begins at Michigan.org.